Hi everyone, it's Debbie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If you're new here, I'm a reseller. I've been reselling for 20 years and I absolutely love it. And today I have a what sold video for you. I'm going to share some items that sold on eBay and Poshmark in the month of November 2024. I sold a total of 95 items for a gross amount of $2,724.84. And I'll have the complete breakdown of all of my numbers at the very end if you're interested in those. And I also wanted to update the last video that I had. It was going over a haul that I had and updating on how much I had actually made on those items so far versus how much I predicted. And then I also went over the items that had not sold yet and changes that I made to those items to try to get them to sell. And since that video, I don't even think it's been 2 weeks, 3 of the items have sold. I will briefly share the items that sold after I revise them, just to keep you up to date on that. The first one, the Think Geek Star Wars Ugly Christmas Sweater, size extra large, sold on eBay for a gross amount of $22.13. My earnings were $10.09. I paid $1.01 at the Goodwill bins. It took 4 months and 7 days to sell, and my profit was $9.08. And the vintage Croft and Barrow sweater sold, that I retook the pictures because they were awful, updated it, and it sold really quickly after that for $21.98. My earnings were $12.91. I paid just 80 cents. It took 4 months and 10 days to sell, and my profit was $12.11. And the third one that sold that I revised was the vintage Y2K Gap sweater. And one of the reasons why I think it didn't sell at that higher amount, because it was a men's size medium. That's a much more challenging size to sell. If it had been an extra large or an extra large, I think it would have sold at that higher amount. But I dropped the price, made a few revisions in keywords, and it did sell right after that for $36.81. My earnings were $19.96. I paid $2.26 for that sweater. It took 4 months and 11 days to sell, and my profit was $17.70. So it's been a little over 4 months on that haul. I will pop up my numbers from that haul so you can see where I'm at. I really love tracking my numbers and my hauls and the time that I put in, so that I know exactly how much money I'm actually making and how much I'm working for per hour and what is worth it to pick up and what might not be. The month of November was another busy month. I feel like I'm always saying we were gone so much this month, but that, I guess, is just my life now. I am gone so much. We had 2 trips this month, and one of them was Napa Valley. It was amazing. It was so beautiful. I loved that. We went to 7 wineries in 3 days. I'll pop up some pictures, but I remember one winery we went to, and we were up high and I was looking down and just enjoying it, not thinking at all about listing or sharing or sending out offers. And I had a couple sales come in, and I remember thinking, thank you, Primelister. And that is one of the strategies that I have for Poshmark. It's so important to remain active on the platform, because that's really how you get sales. And so I was in Napa Valley and I was selling things. I was sending offers to likers, sharing my items. It was following closets. It was doing all of those tasks that take up so much time that I did not want to take the time to do that while traveling. And I don't like to do that when I'm at home either. I want to spend my work time actually listing items and shipping them, not doing those tasks that take so much time. Now, I talk about Primelister a lot, but I really believe in it. It makes such a difference in me making sales. And I've seen in my daughter's closet how much it's made a difference for her too. And I love that it's all cloud-based now. I no longer have to take my laptop with me when I'm traveling and leave it open so that it runs. It's all cloud-based. You put your rules in and then it just runs automatically for you from there on out. So if you haven't tried it, I would encourage you to try Primelister. I will leave a link in the description box below. If you click on that link, it will give you 30% off your first month. But you get a free trial first, and you don't even have to put a credit card in. So you can try it. If you don't like it, You don't have to do anything. You don't have to cancel the trial or anything, but it is really wonderful. So I would encourage you to try it. I love it. So now we will get on to the what sold. We will start on eBay. As I had the most sales on eBay, I sold 58 items for a gross amount of $1,679.55. The first item I saw when I was just at my local Goodwill, and I was there on a $1.29 day. I wanted to find inventory that was a certain color tag for the day that was marked down to $1.29, but I was just walking by, and on the end of an aisle, I saw this really pretty long wool trench coat. And I know that those items have sold really well for me in the past. So I stopped, it was marked $12.99, but I knew it was worth paying that much just because I've sold so many like that in the past that have done really well. And it did, it sold really well. I titled this listing, Vintage Evan Picone Wool Trench Coat. It didn't have the size in it, so I estimated and put small, medium, 6, 8, 10, made in the USA, earth tones, and long. It sold for a gross amount of $110.25. My earnings were $70.11. That's after all the fees and the postage were taken out. That's what ended up back in my bank. I paid $12.99 at my local Goodwill. It took just 3 days to sell, and my profit was $57.12. That paid for my whole trip that day. So that was great. The next item, on the other hand, took a really long time to sell. I found this at my local Goodwill, and I looked up comps for this jacket. It was brand new with tags. It had like Department of Defense in it. I looked up the comps and I was like, oh, this is going to sell for over $100, and it was marked $19.99. So I purchased it, and for some reason, it just sat there and just didn't sell. I've had it listed for so long, so I started dropping the price, and finally it sold for $150.67. But the reason why it was that high was because it went through the eBay International program, so the final amount is not nearly that high. After they took out the international shipping and all of the fees, what ended up back in my bank was $62.32. I paid $19.99. It took 1 year, 3 months, and 1 day to sell, and my profit was $42.33. So that one did not sell like I thought it would, but I was so happy when it finally did sell because it was a little bulky. It was taking up some room. The next one was a really fast sell. On that same day that was the $1.29 day, I was looking through the suit coats to find $1.29 jackets, and I saw several suit jackets. And I looked them up, and the sold comps were really good. And they are a brand from Giorgio Armani. It's M-A-N-I, so I guess that would be Mani. So I sold 2 of them to one person. There were 2 of them. They were both size 44 long, and I put in there Italy virgin wool suit jacket. The 2 of them together sold for $105.72. My earnings were $68.79. I paid $8.99 for them each, so a total of $17.98, and my profit was $59.80. So that is a profit of $29.90 each. I love suit jackets. If there was one thing and I had to pick just one thing that I would sell, it would probably be that, because the return is so good on the suit jackets. Next one is a vintage dress. I would have a hard time. I really like the suit jackets for the profits, but I really love selling vintage dresses also. And this one I loved so much. I titled the listing Vintage Truly Yours Dress, Women's 22W, Denim, Red Floral, Pinafore, 90s grunge country. And I talked about this in another What Sold video. I didn't just come up with those keywords on my own. Looked up other dresses that were like this one that had sold, sorted from highest to lowest, and looked at what keywords they had in their listing and their title structure. And that's how I came up with those keywords. It sold for $41.33. My earnings were $26.84. I paid just $1.29. It was on that $1.29 day. It took just 4 days to sell, and my profit was $25.50. The next item was an item that I found at the bins quite a while ago, last January. and I listed it on Poshmark thinking it will probably take a little while to sell, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and list it now. It hadn't sold, and so finally in August, I went ahead and cross-listed it to eBay because I thought this is the time these things are going to start selling, and it sold on eBay. Titled this listing, New with Tags, Crate and Barrel, Winterfest Red Table Runner, Embroidered Holiday, 14 inches by 120 inches. It sold for $40.49. My earnings were $22.32. I had it since January, but I cross-listed it to eBay, and it sold on eBay on August 29th, 2024. So since I listed it on eBay, it took 2 months and 10 days to sell, but total I had it for like 11 months. I paid just $1.20 at the Goodwill bins in Oklahoma City, and my profit was $21.12. And Crate and Barrel can be really good. I have a few Crate and Barrel items, and so I was looking for other pieces to go with it. And even on eBay, some of those items can be so pricey. So that is a good brand to look out for and look up if you come across it. The next item I found at the Goodwill bins also. Just recently, my daughter Sydney and I went. We just had a really quick trip and found some great items for ourselves and to sell also. This was the Tommy Llama Western Women's Crossbody Saddle Bag, calf hair studs, fringe, brown, small. It was so cute. It had a little bit of wear around the edges, so I just put that in the item description. It sold for $34.23. My earnings were $20.17. I paid $3.59 at the Oklahoma City Goodwill bins. They have a flat charge for purses, which is $3.59. It took 22 days to sell, and my profit was $16.58. Just a quick reminder, if you're new and not subscribed, I'd love to have you back. Just hit the subscribe button down below, and if you hit the notification bell, it will let you know when I release new videos. The next one, I loved this one. Probably the wool trench coat and this one were my favorite items from the month. This was an X-Acto knife kit from 1977. So I love finding things like that and just seeing what the packaging looks like and the print and just appreciating like how old that item is. So I thought it was really neat. I titled the listing Vintage 1977 X-Acto, put X-A-C-T-O and E-X-A-C-T-O because I thought it could be searched for either way. Knife carving cutting tool set number 5076. I put blades and wood box. It sold for $33.46. My earnings were $15.42. I paid just 95 cents at the Goodwill bins. It took 25 days to sell, and my profit was $14.47. Then on Poshmark, I sold 36 items for a gross amount of $1,018.00. The first one I found on that $1.29 day, and it was in the kids area. And I usually just kind of go through really quickly to see if I see any jackets. And this time of year, I really look for like snow bibs and ski items also. And I found these, they were the brand Spider, so I thought they would do really well. This was the kids Spider ski bibs pants, size 3. And inside they said grow along. So I looked up a little bit about that, and they have like some seams that you cut to make them longer as the kids grow. But I noticed that the one that I had already had the seams cut. So they were at the tall end of the small to tall. So I was sure to note that in the listing. They also had a little bit of scuffing at the knee. So I noted that also, but I found that that usually does not keep these type of items from selling. You just want to be sure and note it. Then I put pink, black, and snow. They sold for $24. My earnings were $19.20. I paid just $1.29 at my local Goodwill. They took 4 days to sell, and my profit was $17.91. Next one was another vintage dress. I love these vintage dresses. I titled this listing Vintage Connected Apparel Women's Dress size 16, dark navy blue patchwork and floral because it had just a really subtle patchwork floral print. I have found that patchwork items seem to go very, very well. So I love it when I find patchwork items. It sold for $25. My earnings were $17.02. I paid just $1.29 at my local Goodwill on a $1.29 day. It took 1 month and 7 days to sell, and my profit was $15.73. The next one was a pair of pajamas. I talked a little bit in previous videos about a Free People line that's mainly intimates. It's HAH. And they had these pajamas, and I got 2 of them, and one of them was this green color and the other one was leopard print. And this was one of the reasons why I picked that box, because I saw they were selling really high. I titled the listing New with Tags, $248, HAH Free People, hot pajama set, size extra large, satin, plant emerald, eco, extra large. It sold for $75. My earnings were $57.02. I paid $24.80, so a little bit of an investment, but it only took 1 month, 14 days to sell, and my profit was $32.22. I purchased that from Fox Liquidation, and what I'd like to do on those, now if I find more items with these pajamas, I can order it, and all I have to do is update the quantity, or if it's a different size, take pictures of the label and measurements, and it makes it really easy. And a profit of $32.22 is excellent. I had another one that was leopard print, and it sold at the beginning of December, but that one profited $42.17. So those were great items. And then the rest of the items on Poshmark were a lot of repeat items that I've gotten from liquidation that are like the thermal sweaters, the juicy Free People sweaters, and just a lot of like $10 profit items. So I didn't want to spend a lot of time going over things that weren't a very high profit or that I had shown before, because I didn't want to waste your time. So I will stop there. I'll pop up a few of the things that I sold just to give you an idea of some of the other things that might not sell for a lot, but they do add up. To go over my numbers, in the month of November, I sold a total of 95 items for a gross amount of $2,724.84. My earnings, or the amount deposited in the bank after any postage or fees were taken out, was $1,586.17. My cost of goods was $386.23, and my profit was $1,199.94. On eBay, I sold 58 of those items for $1,679.55. My earnings on eBay was $795.78. My cost of goods for eBay items was $143.12, really low, because a lot of the items that I have been listing right now have been $1.29 day at my local Goodwill or bins items. So my cost of goods right now is so low. And my profit is $652.66. On Poshmark, I sold 36 items for $1,018. My earnings were $774.91. My cost of goods on Poshmark is higher because a lot of my Free People items from liquidation go on Poshmark. So my cost of goods on Poshmark was $241.10, making my profit $553.81. And on Mercari, I sold just one item for $27.11. My earnings were $15.48. My cost of goods were $2.01, and my profit was $13.47. And this was a pair of jeans that I got on one of the Goodwill hauls recently that I'm gonna have an update on, so I'll just include that one on the update video. So that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy these What Sold videos and wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would appreciate it so much. And if you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you back. Just hit the subscribe button down below, and if you hit the notification bell, it will let you know when I release new videos. And hopefully I'll have one more video out before Christmas, but if I don't, I want to wish all of you a wonderful Merry Christmas and happy holiday season. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.